This was less than an hour. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt.
You, what are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters?
You both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine. Thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh? How did that happen? Wait, you can't look out the window? Do boats have windows? They must, surely. There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop.
Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere.
This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Ag! You wicked intruder, all dressed in black. You are the devil. Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. Is it not enough that he's killed a man? Murder, arson, and pet kidnapping.
Duh. And he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe?
What? Ugh. Take him away. He's a trespasser as well as everything else. That one is true. That is absolutely true. We did come into this room against her will.
Stowing, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are the devil.
It doesn't look good, does it?
There is Sil below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong, then we give you straight to police.
Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. I've got to find a solution other than go to court. Fight my charges with a lawyer, like a normal person. Immediately. Miss Pavlova, can I... Get out! Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission. Get out now. We just needed to investigate in here to help understand what happened to Goskirgmania. Okay, it's no use. She's not going to listen. I need to find someone who will. The suitcase will listen to me. Just need to keep calm and focus on the task at hand, which is investigating. Don't touch my things!
You want me to show you where crawfish hibernates?
Huh! Oh, even she flipped me. Well, that wasn't very nice. Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think you're doing? Wow, everyone's attacking me. I was just starting to think she was my friend. Isn't there anyone who can help me out of this mess? You'll help me. Please, just give me a little more time.
I do nothing for you except show you way to ship's prison cell.
Thanks, but no thanks. But I'm innocent. I didn't kill anyone.
And trespassing and stowing away?
Oh, you know. Sometimes life can lead you down some unusual avenues, and well...
Enough. You are guilty. Ship's cell is only place fit for you.
Come on, there has to be someone, some savior to rescue me from this crisis. Who could it be? Not him. You got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean. Sorry. I was just so desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries. I'm really sorry. I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Ms. Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once. I really need some help here. I need a savior. Like... They always make a point to have him never on the screen until you pan the camera. You always pan the camera to him. What the... What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, boy. Oh, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again, the great detective. Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time.
What is to report? Speak.
Urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of a curious murder that took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Buria, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? Really? Yes. I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case.
Ha! You have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. Sonic knows who's responsible for killing student boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is this stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it.
I didn't do it! The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who is inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
The locked room, that is point.
The room was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You're all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there is another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you, even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator?
You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole.
That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It's not possible.
But it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator.
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? I can hear a faint whistling sound. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madame.
But what does it mean? What is a speckled band?
The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold!
Kiag! Ag! What the... Is Snack...
Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the speckled band.
A snake?
Indubitably. Britain.
Mr. Sholmes, just one thing.
Pray, what troubles you?
Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you?
You both see and observe with distinction. However, do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How exactly?
I think perhaps it is time I explained the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin.
Ah.
And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
Ah, okay, so we know that's not what happened, because he said it. I mentioned it as a possibility, he said it. It is confirmed to not be the truth. No. She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi? Looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. It's almost like we should help him? Save his life? You know.
I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Okay, we're doing this again. I guess maybe there's no trial. And just this is all of it. The little the deduction section, which I like a lot.
Ms. Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death is nothing to do with me.
This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, the specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. All of this is so great. It's so, like, animated, the way that they move the camera around and everything, and have all of, like, his, you know, his flair. The way he has to keep moving as he talks, and constantly do the, like, the pointing and the stuff. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's sloughed skin? Never actually knew how to pronounce that. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No? I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. A beloved speckled Indian snake. Deep India. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact... that was cool. He did a little, like, spin and went into his back. We can reasonably imagine there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost but not quite imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There is no point in feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't... It is telling that the victim made a note of a low, whistling sound he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. To... train? Indeed, you put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you would summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you release the snake once more. Do you deny this snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. This concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of the speckled band. And now we correct him. We correct all of his errors. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There, on the floor, you observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Sherlock Holmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Holmes? But of course, what's on your mind? It's just, about your deductions before, some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madame. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you say. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah. Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal a snake by whistling. But madame, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Holmes. Don't step on Snack. There is one other thing. You have more? Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure the snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in the cabins. Then it should try harder! Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Holmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. We got plenty of dots. Let's solve the case. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes. We need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Don't you worry about him. And hey, Faded. So... I somehow went for a pretty long time without opening Steam and without looking at my things up in the corner. I guess you had messaged me your address a couple of weeks ago and then said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were streaming." And when I saw that, for a moment, I was like, "Oh no, did I dox Faded? Did his address show up on my stream and I didn't realize?" And then I was like, no, it didn't. Because I don't have DMs pop up in Steam. I disabled that. And also, Steam Overlay doesn't show up on my stream either, because I'm not using display capture. Was it a few days ago? I couldn't remember if it was days or weeks. I don't pay attention to such things. I guess it would have had to be only... yeah, because when would I have been streaming something on stream? From Steam. It's only if it was this game. No, so you did not. It would have been funny though if you had just been like, "Hey, out of nowhere, here is my address." and it happened to be while I was streaming on Steam with the overlay visible. I had a feeling that was coming. All right, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? You've done it again. Your handcuffs are gone. Where did they go? Fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Oh, was I offline? Oh, okay. Maybe it was... Oh, okay. That's even safer then. If I was streaming the freaking Loop Hero. Now, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Again. Oh. Nah. So this is... We've already done one of these this game, and this is really fun. I like that they broke from the Phoenix Wright formula a little bit to do this. Where he goes around and basically just explains all of this incorrect logic, and then you go along and correct him bit by bit. And it's basically the same as a court, court cross-examination, except it's a lot more fun. Yeah, he's not very smart. Miss Pavlova, moments ago, you claimed the following. I'm kind of torn, though, because I don't really want to read all of this again, because it's stuff that I just read, because they did the first thing first, but I guess I'll read it. It's awkward if I just skip through it. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression, then? Let's take a moment and really look closely at Miss Pavlova. Your aching... Zoom in on aching heart. She really does look troubled. Yes, it's hard to believe she's putting that expression on to fool us. But if you look closely, it's almost like she's actually staring at something. At what, do you think? Perhaps something's physically causing her pain. We should have a closer look. Oh. Okay, the obvious claw scratch. Does she not even have a snake? Is this just a random snake that was on the ship? And her pet is something else? Let's go with the ear. Her ear hurts, clearly. Somebody has stabbed a piece of jewelry right through her ear. She has such petite ears among that beautiful hair, like little pink shells. That too, they don't... From Ava? Yeah, from Ava. That's what you're thinking of, right? Crap, what was I about to say? Doesn't matter. Oh, what's that? There's something dangling down from her ear. Ah, that's an earring. The crescent moon part looks as though it's made from wood. It's charming, isn't it? Women do seem to love pre-ordering Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker and getting Menfina's earring. In their hair, around their necks, on their fingers, and even hanging from their ears, it seems. Well, jewelry is beautiful, Naruhodo-san. This is about 1900. What else? What else you got? Her right ear. What's that? There's something attached to her ear. I expect that's what's called an earring. It's a little piece of jewelry. So hold on. Wait, but it's not an earring, is it? It really is tiny. Perhaps part of it is missing. Maybe it broke off. So now that's all that's left is the clasp part that attaches to the ear. If that's the case, she doesn't appear to have noticed that it's broken. Alright, no. It is the claw scratch. I think maybe he's just a dum-dum. We're also playing an idiot. That looks like a very painful wound. It looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently, too. Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here. Alright. Present.
Yes!
Yes! Captain Falcon! Falcon Claw! Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? Ah. When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain which evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. There's that, yeah. I guess it would have been too obvious if she was just like, buh. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Ms. Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws. Do they? We'll find out next time. No. That's too big of a cliffhanger. I can't leave you guys on the cliffhanger of not knowing if snakes have claws or not. No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then. If that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer. It's him! It's his fish-shaped necktie. No, what do you call that? A cravat? There's no doubt, is there? She looked in this direction, straight at Seaman Stroganov. Well, they do seem to be friends of sorts. Half-hour montage of finding out if snakes have claws. The research montage. But I can't imagine how he could possibly fit through that ventilator. Don't forget that I managed to fit inside Kazuma's trunk when we first boarded the ship. Dots. I would ask what that proves, but I think an equivocal little smile would be more effective. Snack? It ain't no snack. The more I look at this creature, the more its stripes stand out. It's a very impressive snake, isn't it? Oh yes, it really is. And it seems to be doing its best to squeeze this poor sailor's head until it bursts. Yes, it's a terrifying sight, and slightly heartwarming at the same time. Anyway, it would probably be a good idea not to get too close. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. I do wonder, could it be the coffee pot? Teapot? I have a feeling that it was this teapot that Miss Pavlova's eyes flickered over to before. You think this is the friend she's been talking about? Well, we're all different, aren't we? Come on. It's not the 19th century anymore. Have some modern sensibilities. Don't tea-shame. Whatever we may say about it, if that's the way she feels, I don't think I'll say anything about it then. You and your teapot can discuss it instead. Wait, that's not what I meant. Isn't it? Every time it makes me laugh. Ah, look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Ms. Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. The earring. Look at the little cat Ms. Pavlova is cuddling here. Oh, what a cute Koneko-san. Koneko-chan. It could vie with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san? For the blackest outfit. Black kitten. From the look of this picture, at least, Ms. Pavlova seems very attached to it.
Yes!
Falcon Kitten! Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear. Aren't clear? Isn't? The whereabouts? The single whereabout of the black kitten isn't clear. But what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Ag! No. The snake is definitely her pet. She brought the cat to feed it to the snake. Snake's gotta eat. Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. It has toe beans. What explanation can we then give, pray? Was this a sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer for this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Sholmes' speciality. He's ever so cleverly focused her to reveal something. I thought deduction was his specialty. Or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Ms. Pavlova hiding behind her back? Earrings! She's hiding her left ear behind her back. Oh, this is just going to be the same message again. Do-do-do-do. Get out of here. It's weird that I can't fast forward it, because it's definitely information we had already seen. What is speckled? It is band, but what is it? Seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort, and that looks like a handle at one end. I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently. How is that a toy for cats? What, are they stupid? Are they so dumb that you can just jangle your car keys in front of them? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens, in particular, loves that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it. Haha, that sounds positively adorable. Cat's toy.
Yes!
Yes! Falcon toy! Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. Ah. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume? Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what? Why? Naze? My dear boy, there can be only one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah. In summary, the nature of this friend of Ms. Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. Kiag! A truly troublesome feline young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Big-a-bum. And it said that the tiara is also in the picture, just in case we need that information. It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened, Danganronpa. She scratched the back of my hand, and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she's so naughty. Solved. But now, how did he die? 9999 damage from a cat. Cat takedown, just like Shadow. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. I don't know. I'd like to know. Because he definitely didn't shout yes in any of the other Phoenix Wrights. We got hold it, take that, and objection. And now he likes to shout yes! In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. The cat used gill toss. That's how it broke the 9999 barrier. What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body. That's right. But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Cosmo wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. That is the post-mortem report, which says that his neck was broken.
Yes!
Yes! Falcon autopsy. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes. I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed. The breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seeming strong enough isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Cosmo died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably, Darka didn't silently creep up behind Cosmo and say, "Nothing personnel, kid." I suppose it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Unlike some people. Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Oh, I don't know this yet. Is this that he slipped? And that's why the floor is scuffed with the polish from his shoe? Let's try it.
Yes!
Falcon floor! Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed. Positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results, the undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. Oh, you transitioned from one to the other with that little spin. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asugi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine. It's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asugi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please no. And by a dreadful turn of misfortune caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant he lost his life. No! In that instant he lost his life, writing the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor as he fell. He's dead before he hit the ground. I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Ms. Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asugi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. I don't believe it. Cosmo-sama really merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. Okay, there's still the ship's log, right? There's still the ship's log that the guy who was supposed to be reporting what happens in the ship's log every half hour, he stopped reporting around 2 o'clock. I think this is a fake out, and I think he was murdered by that guy. I think that's probably the case. But, and if this is part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction is right, Ms. Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it, here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. It's not in the traveling case, because it's empty. This is where Ms. Pavlova hid her friend. That's right, and it wasn't a snake after all. No, it was that little kitten she calls Darka. Not that it's anywhere to be seen now. It seems to have let itself out of the case and gone exploring. I expect it's wrapped itself around someone's head somewhere, trying to make a new friend. Either that or it's scratching their hand to pieces. Did anyone check inside the snake? I have some bad news. Point is, where has it got to? So, I mean... Is the tiara gonna have, like, a mark on it or something? Like, oh, here's part of his shoe polish. Ah, somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here. It hasn't been dropped, nor Horusan. It's been placed. Starting to sound like Mr. Sholmes. Stop trying to sound like the great detective. Oh, wait. Is it now the waste bait? Right? We tried every time we've looked in here, there hasn't been anything in there. So is this just repeated dialogue, or no? I can already see there's something else in it. Maybe. No. Oh! You sons of bitches. Every single time I've looked in there, there has not been a bell. Half a bell. It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Yes!
Yes! Falcon three-pointer. Kobe punch. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asui's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no! So, Ms. Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? Kia! You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know, in that hushed Russian accent of yours that Hitan did not emulate. Won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Ms. Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be, it's her earring. It's the part of her earring that fell off. She wore mismatched earrings. One has a crescent moon and the other had a garish purple glass bell. No, actually it's the picture.
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you'll clearly see hanging from Darka's collar the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Ms. Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka. Why is she wearing a glass bell? Doesn't she know what cats get up to? Nobody does. It is a mystery. It was not solved scientifically what cats were up to until 1931. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Death by tripping over a cat. But we're not done. We're so not done. We're definitely not done because we have evidence that we haven't used. We've got the fact that the books all fell over. We've got the fact that the guy stopped writing in the ship's log, and we have the fact that everyone on the ship is dying of carbon monoxide poisoning or something.